Let's talk a little bit about the paint we're going to use before we start painting our toucans. We're going to be using a type of paint that is called puck temper paint. If you look at the paint, it kind of looks like little hard hockey pucks. Now, to make this paint work, we have to get it wet. So on our table, we are going to have a bowl of clean water, and we're going to have a bowl of water that gets dirty from rinsing out our brushes. So to make your paint work, you take a little bit of clean water, and all you do is start to swirl it and swish it around the little puck temper paint. And as you do that, you'll activate the paint and you will start to get some paint on your brush. When you want to change colors, you need to go to your dirty bowl of water, tap your brush up and down, kind of swish it around gently. Be careful because you don't want to splash any paint on someone else's painting. If your brush gets a little too wet, you have sponges that you can dry it off on a little bit, and then you can get some more clean water and you can start activating other paints. Now we're going to have a tray that has red, yellow, orange, turquoise, purple, and green. We'll have a second tray with brown, pink, a lighter blue, that makes a really good sky blue, and a darker green for some of our leaves. We'll also have one extra tray that has black paint in it. We really only need black for our toucan's body and parts of his beak, and so we'll put this on the table last so that we can use the black paint as one of the last paints we use. Now all right, let's begin talking about how we're going to paint our toucan. Before you start, there are a couple of big decisions you need to make before you start painting your toucan. One of those is, what kind of toucan are you painting? Is it a Toco toucan, which only has a orange or yellow beak, or is it one of the Kill Bill toucans, which had the rainbow colored beak? So go ahead and make that decision so that you can begin with the end in mind and have a plan for your painting. The other decision you want to go ahead and make is think about what color you want your background to be, or your sky. Your sky does not have to be blue. If you painted your sky yellow or orange, or maybe even pink, it would look like the sun was setting or rising. Now my only advice to you is to try to use a lighter color for your sky. Go with something like yellow, orange, or pink, or the blue paint that is over next to the pink is a really good blue to paint your sky with. Some of the other colors get a little dark, and that makes our painting a little bit harder to read. So to get started on your painting, again, all you have to do is start to get your paint wet. And I'm going to go ahead and begin with the beak of my toucan because, again, I feel like that is one of the most important parts. Get your paint a little wet, and then you're just going to start carefully coloring in all the different parts of your toucan. If you get really close to a Sharpie line, try to go slow and sneak up on that line so that you paint inside the lines and your painting stays nice and neat. If you have large areas to paint, it's a lot easier if you use the larger brush that I'm using right now. If you have a small area to paint, like say the eye or small berries or feet, then we have some small brushes that you can use that'll make it a little bit easier for you to get into those tight spots. So you can just begin painting your toucan. And again, take your time, go slow. You've got several class periods to be able to complete this. And once you have worked on all of your jungle, all of your sky, your beak, all of the different parts, we will get out the black paint and we will add in the final details, like painting in the black shape on the end of the toucan's beak, painting in the black stripe that goes on the end of his beak or near his face, and then finally we can begin painting in our toucan's bodies. Remember, your toucan has a white or a yellow mask, so decide about that too. And another kind of cool part of your toucan that you can have a lot of fun with is his eye. I'll show you my completed painting in a second, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. All right, so here we have the completed painting of our toucan. You can see I was just talking about the eye in the last video. I had a little bit of fun with it. I made sure it was really bright and colorful. You can use any colors that you choose. My beak is completely painted in like a rainbow. I decided to make my toucan look a little bit like a a Kill Bill toucan. You can paint any type of toucan you would like. I remembered that spot on the inside of his tail that is usually a bright color, maybe red or orange or pink. And you can see I decided to do my sky yellow, so maybe it looks like the sun is rising or the sun is setting. If you finish your painting and you notice any small areas where you maybe need to get your Sharpie out and go back over your lines, that's okay to do. If you want to make some areas a little bit sharper because you accidentally painted over it. Otherwise, we're ready to get started, and I cannot wait to see some of these toucans.